Hey legends, what's up? It's Darkmech here, and today we're tackling the Guardian Druid in Dragonflight.
I'm a bear! Thrash! Swipe! Thrash! Thrash!
Anyway, this video today is going to cover off new talents, rotations, stat priorities, consumables, and the information today sourced in the video has been done so in collaboration with the gigantic brains of Katha and Pumps that you will find dropping knowledge bombs in the Dream Grove Discord. Now, if you like this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to support the channel, stick around to the end where we talk about our Patreon. So we're going to kick things off today with talents. Now, there's a couple of options here when we're going to start off talking about the raid build. So the first one on your screen here is a default core raid build. And we're going to put one up which is a max DPS build. It's going to have a title somewhere. And then the other one is a build that you would run with Wildfire taken as an option. And we're going to put that one up next to it with another title. So the main difference here in these two builds is dropping Flashing Claws and Layered Mane, and then picking up Gory Fur, Survival of the Fittest, and Wildfire. Now, picking Wildfire at the moment, assuming they don't nerf it, is totally viable because it only means losing around 400 DPS. Now, because Maul is so much more important to our damage now, we prefer running Incarn over Convoke for damage in all cases, and it's also better defensively. We're going to pick up Soul of the Forest as well for Mangle damage and Rage. Now, the class tree will grant you 31 points for you to spend, and it'll see you picking up things like Frenzied Regen, Thrash, Improved Bark Skin, Killer Instincts, Skull Bash, Thick Hide, Matted Fur, Stamp Raw, Wild Charge, Innovate, and Nature's Vigil, to name a few. In the class spec tree, you're going to get 30 points to spend at your max level, and you'll be getting things like Survival Instincts, Ursine Adept, Innate Resolve, the 3 Berserk talents, Flashing Claws if the fight is AoE. You could elect to run this. If it wasn't, you would generally always drop Flashing Claws and pick up Wildfire at the moment. Twin Moonfire, Galactic Guardian, Alun's Favoured, Circle of Life and Death, Incarn, Ursoc's Guidance, and Rage of the Sleeper. Now, currently there is a bug with Berserk Ravage that basically makes it useless to run if you are running Incarnation, due to Incarnation actually having the CDR to Thrash and Mangle as baseline. This would mean a free point if they don't fix the bug. If they do fix the bug though, you'll want to take it, so who really knows where that's going to land at the moment or when it's going to change. Warden isn't a general recommendation, as it's not really necessary in most of the raid fights. It's a fairly niche pick due to most bosses not having really massive melee hits. For the Mythic Plus side of things, this is a recommended build on the screen. If they do ever nerf Wildfire, you'd end up changing that pick and you'd pick up Layered Mane and free up a point to pick Soul of the Forest. A bit of change occurs in the class tree as well for Mythic Plus. You're dropping the healing pathway starting at Rejuve, and instead you're moving down the right side from Starfire. You drop the extra healing from Natural Recovery and pick up Incapacitating Roar as well for stops in the dungeon. In the spec tree, sweet FA changes. You'll be running Incarn instead of Convoke, of course, for the reasons I listed off before. You have a choice around Blood Frenzy versus Earth Warden, depending on your preference there. Generally, I think Blood Frenzy is going to win out, but maybe in higher fort keys, Earth Warden has some relevance, or even high Tyrant keys, of course. Brambles and Bristling Fur is also a choice, but I generally think Brambles is always going to win over Bristling Fur. So moving into the rotational priority side of things now, so your opener. So we're going to talk about a single target start here, or for a Mythic Plus boss moving into, you would Taunt and Moonfire whilst closing that gap. Now the reason I say single target like Raid Boss or Mythic Plus boss, I wouldn't Moonfire a pack in Mythic Plus as you're running in, as it'll cause the pack to scatter, and then it makes it harder to establish AoE and threat on all of the mobs if they're sort of spread out. So just keep that in mind. Then you're going to hit Incarn, Heart of the Wild, Rage of the Sleeper, Thrash, and Mangle, and then you're going to go into your priority system from there. Now your priority rotation is always using Rage of the Sleeper on CD, Heart of the Wild on CD, Berserk on CD, Moonfire you want to keep 100% uptime on all your targets, and then Maul. Now this is a really big ability and it is very important for Guardian Druids now. So I cannot stress this enough, how important it is if you want to do damage as a Guardian Druid to press Maul, regardless of whether or not you have a Tooth and Claw proc up, realistically speaking, you can maintain 100% uptime on Iron Fur and press Maul roughly every 3 to 4 seconds due to how much rage Guardian Druid is able to generate. Now, whenever you get a Tooth and Claw proc, you absolutely want to send Maul, but to add to this, you'll likely more than not often be running Vicious Cycle. You never want to waste a stack as it's just such a massive DPS gain. During Incarnation, you'll likely be sending Maul every second or third GCD. So very, very important. Press the button. Thrash, you want to try and use this on CD, and you will in your openers to build up your 3-stack bleed. However, once this is up, you will lose out on casts by pressing Maul, and that is okay. You can use Mangle on CD. And lastly, I want to talk about how to use your Moonfire and GG procs. So you do not want to press Moonfire, ideally if possible, outside your initial application of the dot. The ideal situation is Moonfire actually constantly self-perpetuating itself on your targets. And that's because Moonfire with GG and TM can and will actually proc itself with a GG proc. So basically, if you have a GG proc up and another GG proc happens, the proc will consume the current buff you have on you and apply the damage bonus to the 2 Moonfires being cast, and then reapply the GG buff on you, which saves you a global. It's really cursed and dumb, but that's just the way it is. So essentially, as much as possible, avoid pressing Moonfire with GG up unless the proc is going to expire or you have Rage of the Sleeper up and it's going to expire. Otherwise, fill your empty GCDs with Swipe. There's no more single target filler with Moonfire, just fill them with Swipe. And to dump your Rage to avoid capping, press Maul or press Iron Fur. Looking at your stats now, survivability wise set out at the moment, this could obviously change, but at the moment it's item level over versatility, haste and mastery on the same line, and then crit. If you want all out damage, agility, haste, critical strike and mastery on the same line, and then versatility. Moving into consumables in Dragonflight, we've gone away from flasks and now we have files. So in Mythic Plus, you'll be using File of Eye of the Storm. In Raid at the moment, you'll be looking to use Static Empowerment if there is minimal movement. If there's a lot of movement, you'll be using Elemental Chaos. For food, the 3 feasts are always your best option, so Grand Banquet, Horde of Draconic Delicacies, or the Hearty Stew. If feasts are too expensive, there are other options like Timely Demise for 35 haste, Seamouth Surprise for 35 versatility. There's double stat food back in Dragonflight as well with aromatic, lunatic. Aromatic, I don't know, the seafood platter, 21 haste and versatility. You're going to be using a sharpening stone, and enchants wise, going to be running with primary stats on the chest, leech on the cloak through Rid of Leech, or regenerative leech. Wrists, you're going to put leech on there as well, so there's devotion of leech or rid of leech. Leg, we've got toxified armor patches. There is an armor stat one or a stam stat one, so we'll be going with the stam stat one. Rings, devotion of versatility or rid of versatility. And boots, there is a stamina enchant through Watcher's Loam, or there is a movement speed one via Plain Runner's Breeze, which I'll be going with Watcher's Loam. Weapon wise, primary stat increase through Enigmatic Writ or Enigmatic Devotion, and Mythic Plus option, possibly Frozen Devotion. We'll have to see how that gets tuned and how much damage that does. But that is it. If you have any questions, hit us up in the comments below. As I mentioned, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for checking out the video, and we'll see you all next time. Stay Legends, if you really want to help me out and support the channel, please consider pledging to our Patreon. Tier 3 and above will see you getting your name at the end of every single video we create, as well as some hidden perks in the Discord. Thanks so much.